First of all, the first question is the development team actually ready to take ownership of the security of the products that they're building? And I contend that the one prerequisite, which actually I think is actually a prerequisite for you to claim you're doing DevOps, is that you have an automated test suite that runs on ephemeral build technology, that essentially allows you to run, one pull request over here, a competing pull request maybe, a conflicting one at least, over here in a different set of hardware with a different set of data storage so that they don't interfere with each other, and you can run those tests automatic. If you aren't doing that first, you're not ready to take ownership of the security of your products. Now, the tests don't have to be all that involved at this point. A smoke test is probably good enough to meet this qualification. It's that ephemeralness, that move fastness, that I think you need to get to first. The big engineering hindrance for this is typically the data. So if you have a testing platform, staging environment that you load a database with and then you run the tests from, that doesn't scale very well unless you have done the engineering work to load that copy of that database in multiple places and load them fast whenever needed and shut them down, and they disappear and don't consume your resources. Everyone says this is expensive. If you do this in such a way that it's ephemeral, the engineering work is expensive, but the actual running of it this way is not expensive using ephemeral architecture. So that's the engineering work you have to do first, and you have to have at least one end-to-end test in that suite. So one smoke test, and you're shooting for at least 25-30% test coverage before you sort of say, okay, now we're ready to take ownership of the security of prize. So another element of this that I think is not necessarily a requirement, but a really strong recommendation in my case, that the test suite runs before the merge decision, and the feedback comes into the merge decision. Often it's run after, in a later environment, further downstream, because test running is expensive. So test running has to be less expensive, has to be faster in order for this to work. And we'll talk about that a little bit later, how you do that and why. Couple of big reasons why I recommend this.